Nicole will take it. Our next guest says that the European monetary system is on the brink of collapse, but you can make a fortune on it if you play it right. Nice. Benefiting from the total spilches of others. Mike Norman's the guy.
You don't think they would do that to us?
Of course they would. And you are the economic contrarian, and you're spending the last hour of trading with us. When you talk about this brink of collapse, what specifically are you talking about? We know the situation with Greece, but what else?
Yeah, but the bailout, they can never have a credible bailout, because the one thing you have to remember about the European Union and the countries in the Eurozone is that they're functionally like states in the United States. There is no overriding fiscal authority like we have here, the federal government. If push comes to shove, if California is about to default, or New York, or any state, the federal government has unlimited resources to bail them out. The countries in Europe are no longer currency issuers. They can't do that. They can't, print money to get out of this situation. So the problem becomes, where do they actually have to go out into the credit markets and borrow? And at the same time, they're imposing these very severe austerity measures on Greece, right? Which means it's going to collapse demand even more. Unemployment is going to soar. They're going to have riots in the streets. And eventually, those sort of measures, and we've seen it in the past, lead to a greater likelihood of default. And then who's going to step up after that? Without some fiscal authority there, or without the ECB, for example, saying, okay, we will make a distribution, let's say, of €1 trillion on a per capita basis around Europe, that'll liquefy everybody. The problem is going to come back.
Now, let me just say, Christine Lagarde, whom you will hear from in just a few minutes because we had a sit-down with her, disagrees with you. She said Greece is not going to default on its debt. Of course she's disagreeing, but you say, who cares? There are 5 ways to play this possible scenario from a U.S. investor standpoint. We've got people watching. What is that?
Well, the most obvious way, I think, is that the euro is going to continue to decline. And, a very simple way to play that is through an ETF, which is a short euro ETF. Those are available to investors. There are several of them out there. There are some that are double short, so it moves, 200% for every 100% that the euro goes down.
Give me a name of one in particular.
You got Market Vector double euro short ETF, DRR, I believe is the symbol on that one. That's a very easy way to do it. Another way, which is more of an indirect way, is just to be long the dollar, and there are ETFs that are long dollar. Or you could also, look, if the dollar is going to strengthen, what does that mean for commodities? Most likely, no. If the dollar is going to strengthen, most likely commodities will go down. So there are a number of short commodity ETFs. But the best way to do it, and I really would recommend for everybody to do this, we're in a wonderful age of the internet and high technology. Open up a spot Forex account. There are so many online, companies that allow you to do this, and you could easily short the euro and decide on what sort of leverage you want to have and capitalize on that. Look, some very savvy players, Liz, are saying that the euro is likely to go down to parity, 1-to-1 against the dollar.
Okay, that would be
If that happens, you could make a lot of money, a lot of money.
Mike is with us the whole hour. He's got individual stock names coming up. And in the meantime, Republican Senator Richard Shelby saying that the first key vote on financial reform, unlikely to pass today. That means the Senate can't even begin debating the issue yet. And Shelby aides say the senator is working on his own GOP bill. Politics getting in the way of financial reform? I'm shocked, you guys. Just totally shocked. Sandra.
Well, of course, and everybody saw this coming. I mean, for the most part, the first argument was that they were trying to push this along too quickly, trying to get this done, of course, for elections. But now it seems the case that politics are going to get in the way of slowing this thing from actually happening. No surprise here, Liz. This is going to take time. And, of course, the Republicans are probably going to try to make a move to block this from getting passed.
Robert Gray, people want it. There are polls out there that say that they may be against 12 other things the government wants to do, but not this.
Yeah, no one wants to see another bailout again, and getting some kind of legislation at least to attempt to prevent it before people figure out how to circumvent the new rules, Liz. Certainly politics are playing a role in it. They'll play a part in shaping it too, and that may also be what's going on in the back rooms with members of both parties as well. But yeah, you're right. Everyone wants it in some shape or form. It's just what is going to be able to go down the fairway and get some passed by both sides. It's going to be tough, but they've got this negotiating ploy. They need one Republican vote, the Democrats do, and they're going to hold out to get at least something before they can jump in and start this official debate.
Mike Norman, Republicans are smart enough to know that they got to get something done on this. It's 15 months since the financial crisis began.
And I think, you know, the points that have been made are correct. I mean, people are looking at this. Most people are out there really struggling, having a hard time, and we have the same activities going on, this very risky speculation. Look, I was at a speech that Paul Volcker gave a couple of years ago, and he talked about, you know, if you go back in the early 70s compared to now, not much, you know, all this innovation really didn't do much for the real economy.
Just the ATMs, I recall.
The ATMs, right. He said that was a wonderful innovation, but the intermediation that has resulted, from all the regulatory, Glass-Steagall, the end of that, it's created a lot more risk, a lot more volatility without really providing any more benefit to the real economy. We're still building the same number of less homes, okay, than we did back in the 70s. We have a lot more risk, and I think you need to focus in on this because it's very detrimental to the economy.
Closing bell ringing in 51 minutes. We're going to talk to the traders in the floor show next. Would it be 8 weeks in a row? The Securities and Exchange Commission accusing Goldman Sachs of fraud, civil case of fraud here. Congress will grill the firm's executives tomorrow. And now a shareholder lawsuit against the firm for allegedly not disclosing the SEC inquiry has popped up. So on top of that, there are emails from CEO Lloyd Blankfein and Fabrice Touré, the banker at the sort of center of this fraud case, that are now all over the papers. So here's the question. Can Goldman Sachs get a fair shot? Sandra Smith.
Oh, it's going to be tough, and there's going to be some real fireworks tomorrow. I mean, this is going to be a big day, Liz. I mean, just the sheer feelings that are expressed in some of these emails are undeniable, and we don't know yet what Lloyd Blankfein himself has written in some of these emails, but we do know for sure there are feelings being expressed in emails throughout that firm, and of course Fabrice writing to his girlfriend specifically about trying to make himself feel better about what he was doing. So they should get a fair shot, but it's going to be tough with all these emails.
I know, but see, Robert Gray, I read some of these emails, the new ones that came out, and I thought, so what? They made money. I didn't see anything illegal today, although I would highly doubt, wait a minute, that the SEC wouldn't bring a case unless they had something, you'd hope.
Yeah, they must feel like they do. And talking to traders and analysts, particularly those who used to look at these deals, they're surprised that there's a case at all. I mean, in general, when these things are shopped around, you have to expect a synthetic security. Someone is taking the other side. Goldman's not just making it up, you know, for your benefit on one side of the trade. Goldman's going to hedge their positions and lay it off with someone else. So it's to be expected. So still looking for a little more of a smoking gun, at least the sources I've been talking to.
Mike Norman is so ready to jump on this one.
I think there's plenty of smoke out there. Look, will they get a fair shot? I guess it depends on who you ask. I think to a lot of people, they're getting the shot that they deserve, the comeuppance that they deserve. Look, let's talk about this for a second. Here they created these instruments for a client who was involved in the process of selecting the very securities that he knew had the greatest chance to implode, okay? And then Goldman Sachs goes out there to other clients saying, look, you know, I think this is a great investment. We don't know if they said it's a great investment, but they clearly had to talk it up. Somebody else came in on the long side. When
is that illegal?
Look, it may not be illegal, and who knows, something of criminal nature might emerge from this, but it's definitely unethical. It's definitely immoral. We got to draw the line somewhere, don't we, Liz? I mean, look, when does it end? Just because you make money, that means it's a good thing? I mean, Al Capone made money. The mafia makes money. Drug dealers make money. Do we say, okay, well, that's good because it's capitalism and we got to make money? You got to draw the line somewhere. Goldman Sachs was a renegade rogue firm. It's a parasite on this economy.
Hey, wait a minute.
Listen, it drives up the cost of food and fuel when most Americans can't even afford to put gas in their gas tanks to go to work or have to decide on going to work or buying another meal for their kids.
It's funny.
It's enough of this speculation.
When I invited Mike on the show, I told him, you know, have a high energy level. Okay. Mike has actual picks coming up. He doesn't like being this close to me.
And, you know, I use my hands. I don't want to hit
like being so close to me.